You are dear esteemed viewers. Welcome to Punch Sports Extra. With me here in the studio is Olamide. My name is Enito Daramola. We have a beautiful, news, beautiful information for you this wonderful afternoon right here from Punch Sports Extra on Punch Sports Extra. I beg your pardon. Right here in the studio with me is Olamide. Olamide, you're welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all our viewers out there. It's nice once again to be part of this.
Yeah, program. It's really, really nice to be part of this edition. Before we go further, we are going to be, dissecting the front page of the Punch Sports Extra this morning. And right there, big and bold, the very first thing that we're going to be talking about are the talisman. And, there's one man, like we used to say, that never gets away from the front page of the papers, and that's Victor Osimhen. Is back better, scoring goals for Galatasaray. I think over the international break, the coach was sweaty and was concerned about the fact that he gets injured, and he was saying anytime he comes to the Super Eagles, he's scared because he doesn't know if he's going to come back with injuries. But the man is back and he's scoring goals, and he's not just the only one. We also have Gift Orban, who is with Verona, and he's flying the Nigerian flag high. Tell me about what you think about Victor Osimhen and his resurging form.
On Victor Osimhen, he's talisman and one of the world's finest goal scorers. So I love the way he's now back scoring, because last season he won the Golden Boot in the Turkish Super Leagues, but this season he has started very slow. That was just his third goal of the league season, even though he has been scoring and performing fantastically well in Champions League. And we can deduce from his Champions League performance that he has earned over 31 million euros for Galatasaray based on his Champions League performance alone. But in the league, he has started very slowly, and that can be attributed to the injuries he picked up while on international duty for the Super Eagles. But he's back scoring. Hopefully he's going to retain his Golden Boot, because he also has another contender, which is Paul Onuachu, another Nigerian for Trabzonspor, and they are going to be facing off this week too. And it's nice and lovely to have Victor Osimhen back on the score sheet. And also some other Nigerians. Prosper Peter is a Nigerian eligible player playing for France 8th grade team, 18-year-old. He was on the score sheet for Angers yesterday, and he only played about 26 minutes before being brought off due to injury. And Gift Orban too, he also scored, and some other Nigerians.
So I was going to talk about Gift Orban. Do you think this is the right time for him to be integrated into the Super Eagles? Bear in mind that he's moved to Lyon, then we expected him to really burst onto the scene there, but unfortunately it didn't really go well for him at Lyon. And now in the Italian Serie A at Verona, what do you think? Do you think this is the right time to keep preparing him for life in the Super Eagles? Bearing in mind that we have a whole lot of good and intelligent and very brilliant, amazing strikers. The very first person that we mentioned is Victor Osimhen, and then we have Arokodare, we have Onuachu, like you mentioned. We have a lot of guys up front. And do you think he would ever make it to the Super Eagles?
I believe he is definitely going to make it back to the Super Eagles, but to me, it's somehow still early. Because Nigeria will be playing a couple of games in the coming month.
Oh yes, the playoffs.
WAFCON is also less than 2 months. It is exactly 56 days to go.
Yeah.
So we have the playoffs. In the playoffs, we are going to play 2 crucial games, possibly, and after that, we are going to play friendly against Egypt before facing the AFCON Prosper in December. So, and going by the illustrious attackers that we have, I think it's just too early for us to throw in Gift Orban, because the chemistry is still not there yet. And when we are talking about the attacking phase, we know there are so many strikers. The wings is occupied by Moses Simon, Ademola Lookman, Chukwueze. Those are enough for us, at least going into the AFCON, because no coach changes a winning team. Even though our team is not winning enough, but at least we can still look forward to maybe, for example, now we don't have good defense. So if we can bring in more defense, but the attack for now, we have world-class players, the past African Football of the Year, the current African Football of the Year. So we should just stick with what we have now, do what is needed in other phases. Maybe goalkeeper, who knows? Maybe midfielder, maybe defense. But the attack is still all good for now. And Gift Urban should keep scoring wherever he is now. He's in Verona.
Yeah.
So and that was just his second league goal of the season.
Yeah,
so,
I think the first league goal was against Juve, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, in one of the.
I think that game ended 1-1.
And yeah, and now he scored the second game now, and they played 2-2. So he should keep scoring. Nigeria has a lot of illustrious attackers, but he can keep on doing what he's doing. So and maybe ahead of the second leg of the playoff in next year, if we eventually scale through the qualifiers.
The continental
and also
playoffs.
Subsequently we have World Cup next year, we have some other games, so he can come in there. But now I believe it's too early, and we should stick with the attack that we have now.
It is too early, and we should stick with the attacks that we have now. So he made mention of chemistry earlier, and we're going to be talking about the Super Falcons in the person of Monday Gift and the coach. He says he has no problem with that, but do you think that's just, what the press wants to hear, is giving the press what they want to hear? Do you think there's actually something on the line that, we do not know about?
Well, personally, I believe there should be something we do not know about, because Gift, going into WAFCON, Gift was one of Nigeria's best attacker, not outrightly the best. Best then was Edna Imade, and we have Umewa, Joy Umewa, we have Monday Gift. Those were the three attackers that were not called. But, it can be justified that, okay, we have so many attacking players, like Asesa Oshoala, for example, was out of the national team for a long while, and everybody expected Oshoala to be back. If maybe Gift was omitted for Oshoala, it is understandable. But post WAFCON, Ifeoma Onumonu retired. Francesca Odega was not called. Yeah. So you were expecting her to be integrated based on the fact that in US is one of the best women's football league in the world.
Yeah.
And Gift is performing. She powered Washington Spirit to the to the NWSL playoffs, and she was one of the best performing players, not just as Nigerian, but overall in the league.
Yeah,
and
in the women's football.
And it sounds more like you just giving excuse, because the reason is cited was that Nigeria has a lot of attackers, and we can see that. Yes, it is true, but all those attackers are not better than Gift.
Okay, so who should be dropped for Monday Gift? Should it be Asisa Toshala, who has not, really been playing the entire games for the Falcons? She doesn't start sometimes. You understand? So who should be dropped? Who deserves to be dropped? Very quickly.
Well, I don't want to name call people, but the thing is,
let's just make this like pretty simple and fast. Okay. If you are Madugu, the coach of the Super Falcons, who would you drop for Monday Gift?
Well, I think I will have dropped Umewa. Umewa received our first call-up, and she made her debut in the 2-0 win against Benin Republic. So it's something, if you had dropped her, she won't complain, because she's here to make her debut for the Super Falcons.
All right, talk about complaints and excuses. At this point, we do not expect excuses from the Super Falcons. They are already in Abeokuta training for, the second leg of their qualifiers, WAFCON qualifiers against Benin Republic. The first, leg ended 2-0, and they are back here in Nigeria, ready to face Benin Republic. What is your prediction? Should we be worried? Will there be excuses? What is your prediction for that game, very quickly?
Well, the girls are confident. Going by what they said after the game and ahead of the game in Abeokuta, looking at some of their interviews and the team atmosphere, I believe we should win nothing less than 3 to 4 goals.
Nothing less than 3 to 4 goals. That's quite confident.
We might be sweating over Benin Republic for the Super Eagles.
Yes.
We might win, we might not win. We eventually defeated them 4-0. And talking about the Super Falcons, I believe they should do way better. And first leg 2-0, second leg maybe 3-4. There is no small team, like Christy Uchebe said. No small team in Africa.
No small teams.
Anyone can upset anyone, but by pedigree, by players, by influence, by achievement and everything, we should be trashing out Benin Republic.
So come tomorrow, the Super Falcons will be facing Benin Republic in the second round of the qualifiers. And he said, by pedigree, by everything, we should be dispatching them. That's quite confident. Before we move away from the front page of the Punch Sports Extra, a very good news coming from, the MPFL, our very own Finidi George has qualified, his team for the very first time. A Nigerian team will be playing in the group stages of the CAF Champions League. Yes, and that is,
Rivers United.
Yes, that's Rivers United. Very quickly, Olamide, what does this bring to Nigerian football?
Well, over the years since 2018-19, we've been having issues qualifying our team to the Champions League. But now Rivers United are back there. Red Monsters, the league champions. Unfortunately, they met a team that will have defeated any Nigerian team. With
but not by that margin anyway. 5-1 at home is a no-no.
Well, I don't.
Not by that margin. 5-1 at home is just a no-no.
Sundowns defeated Al Ahly, the Real Madrid of Africa, 5-0. So in one of their games, so anything might have happened.
But because they defeated, the Real Madrid of Nigeria, of Africa, rather, that should not, as a Nigerian team, you shouldn't get beaten 5-1 at home. No, it's a no-no. It's just a no-no.
But this is football. Anything.
This
is a Sundown that went to the Club World Cup, drew Borussia Dortmund, won against Ulsan, and almost got to the knockout phase of the FIFA Club World Cup. So this is a very good team, a fantastic team, and I'm not justifying the fact that Remo Stars were poor, but the gap between both teams was very wide. And congratulations to Rivers United. For one, I am very proud of that achievement, because if Rivers United had failed to qualify, it would have been the first ever time a Nigerian team we failed to make group stage of either the Champions League or the Confederations Cup. But now we are on course to retain our first slot, 3 in League and 1 in Federations Cup for the CAF Confederations Cup in subsequent years, and hopefully they can get to the quarterfinal, the semi-final, and maybe hopefully they are going to match Enyimba's feat in 2005 and become the
that's quite bold.
Hopefully, I believe in Finidi George and the boys to go deeper in the competition. If they won't win, but at least get beyond the group stage and earn more coefficient points for the NPFL.
Very well. He's talking about deeper. Before we go further, I would like to say that this is not the end. This is not everything that is on the the paper today. There are a whole lot of interesting gists for you on Punch Sports Extra. So just grab a copy at the nearest vendor and you get the full gist there. And very quickly we'll be moving to the other section of this show, and that is the English Premier League. What went down at the weekend? Now we are going to start with the English Premier League. Like you said earlier, you said in football anything can happen. Something that's actually been happening to the reigning champions of the English football, and that is Liverpool. 4 losses in a row in the Premier League. Should you think that, or do you think that Liverpool fans should be worried? Is this the right time for them to carry the placard and say, we want Arne Slot out? What is going on with Liverpool? Should everyone be worried? Because 4 games in a row in the English Premier League, 4 losses in a row. You are losing to teams like Manchester United, Crystal Palace, teams like Chelsea, and very recently you have lost to Brentford. You understand? So what is going on with Liverpool? Is this, time for them to, really call in the police and say, oh, there's something fishy here?
Well, personally, I believe even before this losing streak, before the start of this losing streak, I believe they should have been worried a long time. Their first game of the season, they struggled to win. 4-2, I think that was against Bournemouth. They struggled to win. Subsequently, they were since then. So one thing I believe is that for a club of that magnitude and for a club of that repute, they are not known to chase managers away. So I believe they will stick with Arne Slot. Probably is going to get his stream right, because as it stands now, it seems to be maybe a jinx in winning the Premier League title. City won last season and they were on a downward
but don't forget that before the downward turn,
they were on a downward
but don't forget that before the downward turn, they won back to back.
No, at least the last,
and,
the last two champions.
Let's not start a thread of jinx when it comes to the Premier League. I think something is actually happening with Arne Slot and his players. You recall that it was during the first game of the season with Crystal Palace. That's the Community Shield when they were defeated. And what's his name now? The captain of the club, Virgil van Dijk, was calling for new signings up front. However, the coach was saying, before we go for up front, signing new players up front, we need to seal the leaky defense. So I think everyone needs to start looking within them starting from the defense, they have been conceding a lot of goals. So what should Arne Slot do going forward very quickly?
Well, what I believe is that very quickly,
let me just add to it. Everybody has been clamoring for Salah to be dropped. Salah was dropped, in the Champions League where they won. I think it was 5-1. Yeah. Salah was dropped. But then, I don't think Salah is actually the problem. It's a team effort. They've just splashed a whole lot of money on Isak, on Verts, and Ekitike. You understand? Even Frimpong. But they don't seem to be clicking at the moment. So what should he do very quickly?
To me, what I feel like is that the team just needs to stay compact. At the point in time, they are blaming.
They are not compact presently, so they shouldn't stay this way.
No, the thing is, the Liverpool that played last season, there's not much difference aside the fact that you take away Jota, may so rest in peace.
Yeah,
and, Arnold. So when they brought in Frimpong has not been fantastic. Kekes has not been superb. In fact, when you look at some of these players, I think only Ekitike, we can spell only Ekitike.
Oh yes,
he has been
actually here and there.
So all those new signings has not been fantastic. And so far this season, I would say maybe Ekitike, players that has been there before, maybe Ryan Gravenberch has been one of the standout performers in the defense. Van Dijk himself has not been superb. He has been performing he has been performing way below his below expectation. So my personal opinion is that he should just try as much as possible to stick with his style, because no manager changes a winning team. When one or two players leaves, things like this are bound to happen, and Salah is known to be a world-class player. You don't just drop a world-class player. Deep in form happens. It happens to everyone. Since you are not Ronaldo Messi, even Ronaldo Messi goes deep in form, and at a point in time they will rediscover their form. And when this player rediscovers their form, I believe Liverpool should be back where they are supposed to be, not 7th position.
Well, we'll wait here and we'll be right here to let you know when they rediscover that form. But I'm sure for Arne Slot's sake, he should recover the form right here and right now, because I'm not sure that if he continues this losing streak, if they go like 10 games, 10 defeats in the Premier League, I think the hierarchy will be considering replacing him. I'm not going to say this as a banter, but I think if they sack Arne Slot, Liverpool should get ready to sign, Jamie Carragher. I think he will do really well as a manager for Liverpool. Well, one side of football, the reigning champions, is not going well for them. He says that we should stick, or Arne Slot should stick to his style. There is one particular man that has stuck to his style, regardless of what everyone across the globe, and when I say across the globe, I mean in Nigeria, in Africa, in Europe, everywhere, everyone have been complaining about his style, and he's saying, this formation, I'm sticking to it and I'm not going to change it. And things have been going bad, unfortunately or fortunately, things have turned good for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim. Is this the start of something new for Manchester United? When they defeated Chelsea the other time, we expected them to win, their next game. But unfortunately, they fumbled against Brentford and they lost, quite a margin against Brentford. But luckily for them, they defeated Liverpool, and it looked like, oh, this is the time for Manchester United to really get back to what they used to be, or to bring back that fear factor in them. And then again, over the weekend, they beat Brighton, who have been defeating Manchester United back to back. I think like the last 3 or 4 games, they've lost 3 against Brighton. But Manchester United are finding their footings in the same, formation, Ruben Amorim with Manchester United. Do you think this is the start of something new, or it's just something for a short while and they are still going to revert to, to status quo?
Well, I won't say this is start of something good, and at the same time, I also will not say this is start of something good for Manchester United, because, well, it might be maybe the fact that, okay, the quality of the opponent. This is not me taking credit away from the players. A fantastic win against Brighton. They defeated Liverpool, and the Liverpool's game, any team can face off Liverpool. Even the Remo Stars that lost 7-1 can face Liverpool and win today. So,
oh, really?
So I believe United should just we should just wait. Now they've been clamoring for league title. They want to win the league. City, they are level on points with them. They are above Liverpool. This and that. What I believe is that, well, it might be too early. United might be back. Because
it's too early. It's just three
wins.
straight.
So it's
maybe
way
too early
until they have 5 straight wins. Maybe
yes, there's a particular fan that needs to cut his hair. I think it's over a year now. They have not cut his hair. He's waiting for Manchester United to win 5 straight games. It's up to 2 years.
Yes, it's up to 2 years because Ruben Amorim did not win. The first time he won 2 consecutive games
was this season actually.
Yeah, and
at Old Trafford.
Last season they were struggling. That led to the sack of Eric Ten Hag. So to me, if maybe after 10 games they've only lost 1, or maybe they are unbeaten and they've been performing very well, then we can say yes, United has arrived. They can actually go for trophy. No league title, they cannot win the league title, is way above them, but at least they can perform, and performing well does not mean just winning title alone. How you are ending the season might be optimistic, and it depends on the results and the performance of some of your players. And if some of their players are stepping up, maybe this is the time that we can say yes, Ruben Amorim is the right person for United, or maybe it's just a bounce and they are going to be restored back to the first setting.
Talk about restoration. If you were the owners of Manchester United, what would be the target for Manchester United this season? Bearing in mind that they are just 3 points away from the top Arsenal, what would be your target? Top 4 or top 6, or Europe, or nothing less?
I think judging by what happened last season and the signings that were brought in this season, I think my target would just be to win a trophy. To win FA Cup.
Just win FA Cup.
They are out of Clásico after losing to Grimsby. Win FA Cup and finish in a respectable position.
So for you, as the owner of Manchester United, what is that respectable position? 1 to 4 or 1 to 6?
The thing is, if they are starting league campaign very, like they want to win the league very early, they were winning,
yes.
and at the end of the day, they finished 6th, 7th, just like Chelsea last season. They were 1 point off Liverpool. And Maresca was saying, no, this is not our season. We cannot compete. And they barely made it to the Champions League.
Yeah.
And Nottingham Forest too, they were second for most part of last season. And eventually, they struggled to qualify for Europe. So that is not a respectable position. But it depends on how their performance goes along the season. And they will feel like, okay, this season is not a failure. But going back to the Nottingham Forest example, if you're a Nottingham Forest owner and you saw that performance last season, and you will know that, okay, this season, if they are telling you Nottingham Forest will finish 6th, 7th, you will say, okay, that is a respectable position as Nottingham Forest. So that will determine what their respectable position will be. And for a team that struggled 16 last season, signed a couple of good players. So I believe if they are finishing, it might be second, it might be third, it might be fourth. It depends on how they are performing along the season. But they should just try as much as possible to end it with maybe FA Cup trophy, because that is the only feasible trophy for them to win, and they can actually go for it. Before Ruben Amorim, under Eric Ten Hag, they got to the final, they won FA Cup. So they've been performing better in FA Cup. So I believe they should be able to end with FA Cup. And winning FA Cup means you are qualifying directly for Europa League.
Yeah.
So
Europa League shouldn't be Manchester United's target. It should be
you've won FA Cup. So if you can go to Champions League, who says no? Because England will probably retain the 5 slots, so they can finish 5, they can finish 4, they can finish
so anywhere,
any of those
any respectable position. Yes, they should not leave the league for Arsenal. It's quite too early to determine who wins the league, and it's quite too early to determine who stays 1st to 4th. However, we cannot argue, or cannot but say, and just say that, or that things are going well for Ruben Amorim and Manchester United, and we hope that they continue the winning streak. However, unfortunately, things are not going well on the other side of Manchester, and that's with Manchester City. Pep Guardiola and Manchester City lost 1-0 yesterday to Aston Villa. Erling Haaland's goal scoring streak ended yesterday. What happened to Manchester City? What is going on with Manchester City? Are we ever going to get that, the Guardiola Manchester, ever dominating Manchester City back?
No, you are never going to get the...
Not even next season, not even seasons to come.
See, I used to make mention of something, that for City to move forward, Pep needs to leave.
Oh,
Pep
so it's
needs
time
to
for
leave.
Pep to leave.
Since last season, I've been on this agenda since last season.
Oh, so
Pep
you have
needs
an agenda against Pep Guardiola?
no, I don't
Are
know.
you a Manchester United fan?
I'm a Manchester City fan.
You're a Man City fan?
That's the
and you
most
want Pep
curious thing.
out?
See, the thing is, when you look through City's
It's been
team,
a while that I saw a Manchester
when you
City
look
fan.
through City's team, you will understand the fact that last season, the excuse was that Rodri was injured.
Oh yes,
But
and still, I think he's still quite injured presently.
I saw beyond that excuse.
That excuse,
Rodri is injured. Rodri is, yes, Rodri was the world best footballer. He was Manchester City's most important player. But when you look at that performance last season, and going by the fact that, okay, from January, I felt like, no, Pep is the problem of this team. And this season when City, they were winning, they were going against Arsenal, they wanted to win the league. I was like, no, this is Haaland. Haaland is in form. Once Haaland stops scoring, City will not get back to that level. City will not win. And the first time he failed to score in 12 games, City lost. So when you look at the way City has been playing, and when you look at Pep's overall philosophy, you will know that he has betrayed himself. Since last season, he signed a couple of players. And okay, let me narrow it down to this season, because I can have 10, 15, 20-minute analysis on the overall problem. But this season, Pep is someone that is known to play from the back. Pep, since his career, he started his career using Victor Valdez. Valdez is a ball-playing goalkeeper. All through his career, he can stake his reputation on a ball-playing goalkeeper. This season, he signed
I see where you're going.
Trafford is not a ball-playing goalkeeper. He signed Trafford for £35 million.
Yeah.
And for someone that knows, okay, this is not a ball-playing goalkeeper, but the fact that he was championship best player last season, you felt, okay, this is a very good player.
And I think, in addition to the fact that he was the best, player in Champions League last season, was the fact that they risked, they didn't want to lose him to Newcastle United because he was on his way to Newcastle United. Talk about competition.
The fact that if he
they did the same thing with what's his name, Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish would have, ended up at Manchester United. But it's just a way in the game that you try to buy that player that your opponents would strengthen your opponents, and that just try to weaken them. They did the same thing with Calvin Phillips too, who would have moved from Leeds to maybe Manchester United and would have really strengthened the club. So go ahead.
But the thing is, okay, back to my point. When you signed that goalkeeper for £35 million, and this particular player is not a ball-playing goalkeeper. Yes. He made the first mistake, I think, against Wolves. The second mistake against Spurs that he lost. After that game, you bought Donnarumma. Donnarumma came in. Donnarumma is also not a ball-playing goalkeeper. So
quite well.
From there, you will look at, okay, some of these things. You signed a couple of other players that these are players that cannot hold
like
possession,
Rangers, Czechia.
So you are now betraying the philosophy that we know Pep for. Last season, when Rodri was injured, you went to the winter transfer market. You signed about 7 to 8 players. Where are those 7 to 8 players? Only Mamouche is remaining now. You discarded all of them. All of those players, you discarded them. Not for maybe
I think they are still around.
Reason.
Yeah, most of them are still around.
Kusanov, at the point in time last season, Kusanov played about 3 to 4 games. You discarded him. Nico Gonzalez, he was nowhere to be found. Most of these players. So you cannot act that way. Sign players for big money, throw them away, and the philosophy that we know you for, Bernardo Silva, you gave him the captain without any good reason other than the fact that.
Wow! So you think it's not justified?
That was the first time in his career he picked a captain. All through his career, he has always left that decision for players. You said, okay, some of these players over the years they've been losing their captain because City has always been losing their captain every year. If a player gains the captain band, they will leave the following season. And you now feel like players, most of them. So you now feel like, okay, you have to make this decision to give someone that will be permanent. And Bernardo Silva, since his time at City, he has always been looking for a way out. He has always been complaining that he wants to leave. So you cannot be hypocritical about some of these things. So it's not just fine, it's not just well, because if we are analyzing, I believe the entire problem is just Pep. He has done well. He's the greatest manager of all time. But
of all time, really,
he's the greatest.
He's your greatest manager of all time, not my greatest.
Is my opinion. I'm the one talking. My opinion is not fact.
Yes, so he's your greatest manager of all time.
So, but I believe it is time for him to leave if City wants to move forward. And as a City fan, I will probably want a change of hands. For there are a lot of good players, a lot of world-class players, but I don't think is the right man to take them them to the nearest height that they want, because we also want to win another Champions League.
Oh, so another Champions League is on site for Manchester City, and Olamide has said that Pep Guardiola should just call it quits with Manchester City, whether it's betrayal of his philosophy, or whether it's what's it called now? What did you call the other one? Betrayal of philosophy and hypocrisy. Yes, for choosing Bernardo Silva as the captain. Well, we don't know what's going on with Manchester City, or we hope that we get the Pep Guardiola that we want, so we hope to get him back. Also, we need to inform you also, or remind you, that Chelsea also lost 2-1 to Sunderland yesterday. Quite shocking, quite interesting, because Sunderland moved from where they were on the table, and they are second on the log. And some people are saying Granit Xhaka, the former Arsenal midfielder, should be in contention for the signing of the season. However, wherever Sunderland will end the season, we'll be here really to discuss it. We'll be here, we are waiting to find out where they end the season. But we can tell you that currently on the Premier League table, Arsenal are top, Sunderland are second, Manchester City are third with 16 points, and then Manchester United are fourth with 16 points as well. So Manchester City are ahead of Manchester United on goal difference. However, we'll be moving very quickly to the La Liga. Something big happened yesterday in the Spanish La Liga. It's the El Clásico, ending 2-1 in favor of Real Madrid. And the big thing, the big side to that game yesterday was the back and forth, the clash between the players, and it all started with Lamine Yamal and Dani Carvajal. A very quick one on that.
Well, I believe the whole issue that started yesterday, that we saw yesterday, started way back.
Oh yeah, obviously, but it came to it blew up when Lamine Yamal and Carvajal had that exchange, and he was saying that he talked too much. And then I think the bigger one for me, the biggest shock there yesterday was that he was telling Carvajal to come to the dressing room so that they can, iron things out hand to hand. And he didn't just say that to only Carvajal, he said that to Vinicius Jr. as well. Do you think he would have, gotten away with it if they had, followed him to the dressing room?
They will not have a physical altercation. They will not. So it's just a way of him not laying low. Shut up. Come and meet me in the dressing room. So it's just a way. If they both goes to the dressing room, nothing will happen.
Oh no, I'm sure things will happen. If you were to be Vinicius Jr.
Camera is everywhere.
Yamal, things they would happen, but there are teammates there that would. They won't. Okay, and
it's
very quick. This is not the first time that we're having things like this. I think it was Dumfries and I can't remember his name now. But he was doing the Club World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, and they had a clash, and it was like, oh, let's go to the dressing room, let's go and iron things out. And you saw Dumfries, running, trying to, Shebi, you say, we'll come, let's go now. You understand? I really don't understand, the big deal. But do you think that Lamine Yamal should pipe down very quickly? Because it looks as though things are not going in his favor. He didn't really, he didn't really play well yesterday. We didn't really see the Lamine Yamal that we used to see. And do you think that Real Madrid this will propel them to to winning the La Liga this season?
Well, I believe this particular results might not really have maybe a total effect on the league, because the league is still way much.
Yeah, and, still young.
This is just like maybe match day 9 or 8. 9,
between 9 and 10.
And there's still a whole lot of games to be played, and Barcelona are suffering from injuries, and a lot of their players are out. But about Lamine Yamal toning it down, I do not think so, because I feel like a lot of people are just trying to witch hunt him because of the fact that he's young. But this is not the first time we are going to be seeing such in El Clásico. Pep and Mourinho almost had an altercation, a physical altercation over war of words, and it has been happening a few days to Yamal making such allegation that Real Madrid and referee and players. Courtois called out Barcelona president. He said Negraga, they were paying referee. Barcelona did not have. So all of these players are talking. Carvajal was talking. Look at what Vinicius did after full time yesterday. He went on Instagram to post a picture of Pedri drawing him. So all of these players are they are all
it's always
saying
a
lot of things, but we all want to which aren't Lamine Yamal because he's young. No, he's a professional footballer, and if that is what works for him, he has been outspoken since 16, since 17. Throughout Euros, it was nobody remembered when he was attacking the name of this French midfielder. I've forgotten his name. He was attacking him that we are going to meet on the pitch. When one Dutch legend said he sacks too much, he should
he scored and then he did that celebration.
So he has been like this all his career. So because it didn't work for him against Portugal and against Real Madrid, should not mean he should fall down. If him being arrogant, if that's what we want to call him, or him being cocky, is what works for him, fine. That is his career. Ronaldo was cocky, Messi was humble. They are both the greatest player of all time. If this is what works for him, then he should keep at it. So we should not try to tone him down or try to take words away from him because he's not winning. And this is someone that might be injured. We don't know if he's fully fit. Maybe Barcelona was just rushing him in. But I feel he should keep doing what he's doing if that is what works for him.
So he should keep doing what he's doing if that is what works for him. Our producers are saying that it's time to draw the curtains on today's episode of Punch Sports Extra. Until next time, next Monday, we'll see you again. It's bye from us here in the studio. We'll say have a wonderful time. Enjoy the rest of your day.